The Flagstaff, Arizona real estate market stats for November 2023 are out, and buyers, you're going to like this. Inventory is up, prices are down, as you saw in my thumbnail. I'm Brent Wofford, Arizona's rad realtor with Keller Williams Arizona Realty here in beautiful northern Arizona. Let's dive into the latest real estate market data for Flagstaff. All right. So this is the homes that are on the market right now, currently homes for sale in the MLS. We are looking at 326 as of the end of October, which is the highest point we've hit this year. So you can see inventory is up all the way throughout the year since January. Shoot, the last time we had this much inventory on market was actually August of last year. So it's been over a year. You know, the record for the last 3 years was 371 homes on market, and that was July of last year. And the minimum actually was 154 from January last year. But yeah, the key takeaway here is that we have 56 more homes for sale right now on the market than we did a year ago. And buyers, you have more houses to choose from. We look at supply in months to tell us what kind of a market we are in. If you've not been to one of these before or seen one of these market updates, let me just run down real quick for you. As real estate professionals, we like to see 5 to 7 months of inventory. What that means is we're in a balanced market when we have 5 to 7 months of inventory. Right now we're at 3.7 for inventory, which means we are technically in a seller's market still. Even though we've had the most, we have the most months of supply right now than we've had in the last 3 years. And the way we figure out months of supply is you take supply versus demand, right? So we say how many houses are on the market at one given time or in 1 month versus how many actually sold. We divide it by that number, and that's what gives us the 3.7. So another way to look at it is if starting today, the beginning of November, no new houses went on the market, we would be sold out of houses in Flagstaff in 3.7 months. So that's why it matters, is so we know what kind of market we're in. Like I said, we are still technically in a seller's market, but it's been going up all year long, and we're heading towards being in a balanced market as soon as we hit that 5-month threshold. If we compare this to last year in October, we're actually up 1.5 more months of supply than we were back then, or we're up 68% for supply. So buyers, if you're buying now versus buyers that were buying a year ago, you've got way more houses to choose from and less competition at the same time. Next stat we like to see is sales price. I get asked this all the time. Brent, what's the median sales price in Flagstaff, Arizona? Well, I'm here to tell you that as of last month, it was $603,980, or you can just round up to $604,000 is what the median sales price was last month here in Flagstaff. Unfortunately, that's been a decline for 2 months in a row now. You can see if we go into the data, August was actually just under 700,000 and September was at 630,000. So we are dropping right now from August, but the key takeaway is to look at it from the beginning of this year, which we were at 588,000. So year to date, we are still up from the beginning of this year. If you look at it from a year ago, so year over year, we're actually down 68,720, or 10% down from where we were a year ago. If you look into the data, though, you can see a year ago tends to be a bit of an anomaly, because September was 580,000, November was 500,000. So last October, there had to have been a couple good ones, a couple high $1 million+ listings that closed, that skewed the median more towards the higher end versus down towards the lower end. Looking at historically over the last 3 years, the highest median sales price has been $706,000, and that was in April of 22. And not surprisingly, the lowest amount at $478,750 was in January of 2021. looking at homes sold. So this is actually the number of homes that closed escrow last month in October, or the number of buyers that pulled the trigger and bought homes. There was 108 last month, which has been relatively flat since July. We did see a spike in June, but yeah, July dropped off a bit and it's been holding steady since. If we look back through the last 3 years of data, 195 was our peak, and that was in June of 2021 when the market was red hot and houses were selling like crazy. And the lowest point was actually 43 in January of this year. So if you're in Flagstaff and you've already bought a house here and you know what the market's like, but if you're not, I'm speaking to those of you out there on YouTube that are watching this not from Flagstaff. Please know that Flagstaff's data is seasonal. Typically when December, January, February, March hits, so you're talking your winter months, Flagstaff typically sees the most snow January, February, March. Home sales go down when there's a lot of snow on the ground because people don't want to be out in it. They don't want to be in the cold. They might not have the vehicle to drive in from out of town. If you're coming in from California or from Colorado or Texas or wherever you're coming from and you want to buy a house in Flagstaff, you might not be wanting to buy in the wintertime because of that. However, I want you to know I do have a four-wheel drive vehicle. Actually, I have two of them, so I can help you out all year long. Doesn't matter if there's snow on the ground or not. So let's go into sold to list price, or a list percentage. This is a very important stat because what this tells us is as of last month in October, homes were averaging 99.2% is what it sold for of the listing price. That means on average, the discount was 0.8%, not 8%, 0.8% of the purchase price. So if we take the median sales price and we take 0.8% of that, it actually comes out to $4,800, which is just under a $5,000 average discount off of list price right now. So this is very important for you to know if you're a buyer, because if you're thinking you're going to get thousands and thousands of dollars off right now because the news is saying that the market's changing and the market's crashing and all this stuff, the data is not panning out in Flagstaff. So while that information might be true about a few select major metro markets that the news media hand selects to give you that information, that is not what is going on in Flagstaff right now. So buyers, please be informed on that. Sellers also, that's good news for you. That means you are getting very, very close to list price on average for your home. That doesn't mean you can list it for way over list price and expect to get that. I have sellers that do that, and unfortunately, that's not how it works. If you're going to price your home at fair market value, then you're probably going to get 99.2% of that. Another key thing about this stat is that it does not take price reductions into consideration. So this is only going off of the last listed price for the home on the market. So if you're significantly overpriced, you're not going to get showings, or if you get showings, you're not going to get any offers. You're going to come down on the price. And then when you come down to a price that is close to fair market value, then you could expect to get 99.2% of that list price as your sales price. Sorry, I will get off my soapbox a little bit on that. So if you have more information on that or want to have a discussion on it, drop a comment down below or hit me up. My contact information is in the description below. I'd love to have a conversation off air with you about that. Going into the data for the last 3 years, the highest point was actually 104.5, which means in March of 22, the average sale price of a home was 4.5% over and above what it was listed for. On the flip side of that, 97.3%, or if we do the math backwards, you're looking at a 2.7% discount, was the highest discount on average that we saw, and that was December of last year. Days on market. The data is a bit odd here. 185 days on market. This is definitely an anomaly or an outlier in the data. You know, September we were just under 70 days on market. Same with August. You know, the expectation for October was for it to be somewhere right in line. You know, with these, a little bit maybe below the black line, but that wasn't the case. Most likely it's at 185 because there was a couple houses that were sitting on the market for a really long time that finally closed escrow and skewed the data. We'll revisit this next month in November and see where the number comes back down to, probably back closer to a more realistic number than this. So yeah, 185 would be the record for the last 3 years. The lowest for the last 3 years was actually 48 days on market, and that was in March of 22. Real quick, little side note, talking about days on market, we're talking about from when it gets listed in the multiple listing service and gets posted online for sale to when the day of the close of escrow is. So that is the period for days on market. It's not when the sign goes in the yard, which may be a day before or a couple days after it actually gets listed. And it's not for when it goes under contract. It's actually for when it closes escrow and the deed is recorded. So that is a wrap for your Flagstaff market update for November 2023. Again, we were looking at the October numbers and the numbers prior to that. I'll be back here at the beginning of every month to go over stats with you, let you know the latest things of what's going on here in the Flagstaff market. If you have any questions at all, seriously, there's no dumb questions in real estate. You got my drop a comment below with your question, or my contact information is down there as well. You can shoot me an email, or you can call or text me on the phone number down below. Another thing I had kind of touched on was the national headlines, right? Don't let the fear of the national headlines make you think that's what's going on here in Flagstaff in the market. The national headlines right now are saying that the real estate market is crashing, that sales are way down. They're saying that prices are falling off of a cliff. You know, obviously we're seeing prices go down 2 months in a row, you know, but we are still up year to date on the sales price. Transactions or the number of people buying houses has not fallen off a cliff. As you saw in the data, we're holding steady for the 4th month in a row now on the number of sales. So yeah, inventory is going up. Like I said, again, that's a good thing for buyers. It's also a good thing for you sellers because we're getting closer to having a balanced market. So if you want to have any more conversation about market stats or real estate, obviously I told you my contact information is listed below. Another thing that I'm willing to offer, and I'm going to throw it out there, is I can do a market update for you on your specific neighborhood if you live in Flagstaff. I've got a link below. Go ahead and click on that link, fill out your information in there. I'll send you a market summary or a market update on your neighborhood. And if you give me your address, I can give you an estimated value of what your home should be worth as well, fair market value. If you are a buyer watching this video, feel free to shop using my link below for homes. What that's going to do for you is if you fill out any of your information on there on that website, it's going to come directly back to me. It's not going to get sent out to a dozen different realtors that are going to all try to call you and contact you at the same time while you're working. I'm very respectful of your time as a buyer and communicating with you when it is best for you. So yeah, I think that's it. Thank you all so much for joining me today. Before you go, if you could please do me a huge favor, smash that like button below, subscribe if you haven't already, and yeah, I'll see you next month. Thanks again for joining me, and I hope you have a rad day.